We can talk some more now about Nigeria's foreign policy and Nigeria on the foreign scene with Professor Bola Akinterinwa, the Director General of Bolitac Center for Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. He joins us from his home in Yaba. Professor, thank you for joining us on the News at 10. Appreciate your being here. Is Nigeria regaining prominence in the Committee of Nations, with President Buhari being the 5th speaker at this year's UN General Assembly?
I do not look at it as if we are gaining any prominence, simply because all other member states of the international community, they are presidents. They all address the United Nations. It's a United Nations General Assembly debate to which all member states are required to make, input. Secondly, the mere fact that we have headed presided over the United Nations Security Council is also on rotational basis. They look at the alphabetical order and they rotate. And then when you look at the presidency of the National Assembly, this time we might have made some efforts by lobbying some other states to vote for us. The truth is that the UN system, this principle of rotation applies, across broad. So when it is zoned to Africa and it is the turn of West Africa, then the member states of the region will determine who should represent. That's where we do some lobbying. But basically, it is not because we have done something substantial to gain prominence. The only thing there is simply that, look, it's the turn, at least to be given that preferential treatment. Yeah. And we have done well by negotiating, convincing people to vote for us.
Professor, well, some have said they don't understand, the direction of Nigeria's foreign policy. Do you understand it?
Well, nobody can understand the foreign policy direction simply because there is no specific focus that anybody can now say he's studying and try to understand. What is emerging is simply that emphasis appears to be placed on Nigerians in diaspora, and efforts are likely to be made to take advantage of the input, the investments of Nigerians in diaspora. Apart from that, Nigeria's foreign policy under President Muhammadu Buhari, at best, has been very reactive. There is no particular direction anybody can point to.
Professor Bola Akinterinwa, thank you again for joining us on the News at 10. He's the Director General of Bolitac Center for Diplomacy and Strategic Studies. Thank you for joining us from Yaba. We do apologize for the delay there with Professor Akinterinwa, and we're glad we had him back on the News at 10.